And what's really interesting, Jeff, is that so many of our patients tell us that their customers' response is, "Oh my God, you have your own app?" And they're like, "Yeah, I do." Like, yeah, we're kind of the bomb, and it's really cool. It gives them a lot of pride. And, branding is about differentiation. And this truly is a differentiator.
Hey, Smart Chiropractors. Welcome to Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. Today, we have the opportunity to sit down and chat with a gentleman that we have known for quite a few years, friend, an awesome chiropractor, and probably somebody, if you're listening and watching, you've seen speak on stage around the world, Dr. Jay Greenstein. Jay, thanks for coming on and chatting with us today.
What's up, fellas, man? It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
It is our pleasure. Now, let's set the stage. Docs out there, they might know you from the research world. They might know you from excellence in clinical practice, multi-locations. You've built it, you've grown it. But today I want to focus on something some docs out there might just be learning about. And that is your itch for where technology intersects with care. You've been involved in the app world for a little while. We're going to get there, but I want to trace it back because I know you have a passion through research as well with patient engagement, compliance, and how that ties into results. Where the heck did all this begin?
It started in clinical practice, right, Jeff? I mean, like we know we've had patients who they discontinue care too soon. We've got an evidence-based care plan that we provide. We use the evidence to guide our clinicians and our patients around what is appropriate for the patient's condition, and we actually share that. We have what's called an evidence-based report of finding sheet that we share with the patient. And we explain to the patients, the comorbidities that affect outcomes. We explain to them about care plan adherence and how that affects outcomes. And humans, they need repetition, and they also sometimes need other behavior change tools or triggers or prompts that can help them make the right decision. So, the problem that we saw in clinical practice was patients stopped care too soon because they felt better. Right. And we've got data around this. We're very data driven. We're very information enabled. Patients feel better. They think they're done. And we also know that one of the most accurate predictors of future injuries, according to the literature, is past injury, because patients stop treating when their symptoms go away, not when they're fully functional. And so we saw this problem in our practice, and we have continued to work since, the beginning of the practice until now and through the development of technology on patient engagement strategies that helps them understand why they need to complete their care plan. And if they decide to go to maintenance care, great. We know there's good evidence around that too. But at the very least, just finish what you started. That's kind of the goal.
Jay, I love where you're going with this. We sometimes think that it's the patients who don't really understand what to do, but that may just be a byproduct of chiropractors not knowing themselves and or not having either the confidence or the systems in place to be able to effectively and efficiently communicate what the science says about each of these different things. We know we're living in a world of people, at least here in America, that seem to think they understand and believe in science, whatever craziness that means. So let's speak their language. And I think that's exactly what you're doing. Help chiropractors understand kind of what does the app do? How does it help the chiropractor be more effective in sharing evidence-based care? And how does it help people better understand why they should be adhering to their care plan?
It's a great question, but I want to also touch on the great point that you just made. Many times the chiropractor doesn't have the confidence. We see this out of kids out of school, right? They don't have the confidence to know why they're even making the recommendations that they're making. And many times clinicians in school are teaching these doctors to be symptom focused. Oh, if you can get their pain better in 6 visits, then you should discharge them. And there's some very, very smart chiropractors out there, like Brett Winchester, who teaches all around the world about functional improvement. And, he will tell you that is not the right clinical approach. This is not about making money. This is about driving better long-term outcomes. So I love that you said that word, confidence. And so when clinicians use the evidence, and there's great evidence out there, to explain to a patient why they need the care they need, it just helps educate the patient as to why they need to complete their care. We understood that. We have an evidence-based report of findings process. You mentioned process too, Jason. Very astute. We have a process in place, and still we knew that there was ways that we could improve care plan adherence. And we looked at our data and we said, all right, how do we improve this? And so we looked at the literature. And what we found is that in today's healthcare environment, you have to leverage technology. Whether it's operational or clinical, you must leverage technology. And so we wanted to create remarkable experiences for our patients. We knew that some of the largest consulting companies in the world, like McKinsey and Company, had criteria that we needed to meet customer expectations, like remarkable experiences, like a safe environment, like raising the bar for digital excellence. That's what their report said. And so we said, look, if the literature says that mobile health apps can help improve healthcare behaviors, and we also know that large consulting companies are saying consumers want these experiences as part of their healthcare journey, what can we build? And so I turned to my developer, John, who I didn't know was a developer at the time. He was just on our research team. And we were talking about, like, could we build a mobile app? And he's like, I can build that. And I like almost fell out of my chair. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, like I developed it. He went to UVA, very smart guy. He's like, yeah, I like did some developing when I was in college. And I was like, all right, dude, go for it. Cause I guess way above my pay grade. And so he did, he built a prototype. We use what's called human-centered design to interview our patients around the prototype to make sure we were actually delivering what the patient needed and wanted. And then we launched, and then we looked at the data. And so it was quite a journey, just understanding like how to build technology. And then it was just remarkable to look at the data, because when you do research, you guys know, when you do research, it's a box of chocolates. You have no idea what's going to come out of the data. And when we looked at the initial data, we looked at 90 days in for patients who had completed their care. We had a 36% increase in care plan adherence for those who used the app compared to those who didn't. It's a big number. It's a big, big number. So then I turned to some friends and I was like, hey, Bibu, hey, Alan Sokoloff, who I think you guys know well, chiropractor for the Ravens. He's a good friend of mine, and Bibu's a very close friend of mine as well. Customer number one and customer number two. I was like, hey, do you want us to build you an app? And they're like, and I told them the story. And they're like, sure, we'll do it. They didn't even know like what it was going to do for them. They're like, if you want to do this for us, go for it. And so we did. We built them an app, and they were getting some great responses. And then we said, okay, we need to commercialize this. But at the same time, all that was going on, we knew that we could collect even larger data sets. So we decided that we were going to collect data over a 2-year period. We did. At the end of 2020, the beginning of 2021, we analyzed 2 years worth of data over 4,000 patients. And not only did we see the same level of improved adherence over time, we divided up the cohorts, and I won't get too nerdy on you guys, but we divided up the cohorts. Doctor discharges had a 10.5% increase in adherence, those who used the app compared to those who didn't. When we looked at the patients who did not complete their care, the self-discharge patients who used the app came in 70% more than those who did not use the app. And so we had a cohort of patients that were already not going to be adherent to their care plan, but at least if they use this tool, it was going to drive a significant change and improvement in healthcare behaviors. That translated into 62% more revenue for those patients who use the app in the self-discharge group. So from a business use case, it just became a no-brainer. So that was a lot of information. You guys can tell I'm pretty passionate about this, but we know that technology is part of healthcare today. We've got to meet people where they are, which is literally on their phones. And if we build the right product and we create engagement, we can drive improved outcomes over time.
I could not agree more. And there's something you said, Jay, that I just want to harp on. I'll stand on my soapbox for just a moment here. And I'll get off.
Go for it, bro.
Like, man, like the docs out there that are like, my PVA is less than 1. I don't even let them get a full job. It's like, it blows my mind. I don't understand it. And it's not good from a patient perspective, number one. And I'll do this relatively brief, but working in multidisciplinary groups, I would see patients that came in looking for surgical intervention because they didn't succeed in chiropractic. And quite frankly, quite often it was because the chiropractor, in my opinion, didn't give the recommendation. They gave temporary relief, and then the patient's like, well, it came back, guess I need surgery. And it's absolutely nuts. It happens every single day. It's something we don't want to think about or talk about, but is something that's really happening. I know you could go on that. I'll give you the option to go on that, but I'll also ask.
Can I?
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll pause there.
Really quick. It's like, okay, so I'm sure there are the Mercedes 80s, right? Like there are probably a lot of overutilizers and people just selling care plans for the sake of, buying more Mercedes. Okay, that exists. But the pendulum swung way too far back. It just got way too ridiculous. There is a happy medium. And that medium is an evidence-based care plan that gets the patient functionally well. And if the patient decides based on their values, they want to stay healthy, which by the way, is kind of a good idea. It's kind of a good idea to stay healthy rather than waiting for shit to break down. Like maybe maintenance care is appropriate. And like we all know, like we've been in clinical practice, our maintenance patients are healthy, they're happy, and they're spending a whole lot less money on their healthcare.
I could not agree more. Jason, I'm going to hop in. And Jay, I'm going to give you my real question now, which is when you speak about the app, the technology, and specifically how you developed it, as docs, span the gamut from the listening right now, is there a philosophical approach that this is in alignment more than others? Is this something that's ubiquitous? I guess nuts and bolts wise, how does it really pragmatically work within different types of practices? Is this geared towards one type of practice? Just out of curiosity.
Great question. And the answer is yes. If you've got a practice that doesn't have infrastructure, if you don't have process, if you're not used to using technology, if you don't have an EHR, if you're not looking to grow your brand, it's not for you. Don't even bother reaching out or calling because it's just not going to be for you. But if you are entrepreneurial by nature, you want to scale your impact on as many patients as possible. You want to drive better experiences and outcomes for your patients and your team, by the way, because a lot of the feedback that we get from our clients is that the team is so much happier because it minimizes a lot of that work that used to be done on paper. Just, for instance, like giving patients their home exercises as an example, but there's even more like scheduling and other things too. And I'll share a little secret that will blow your mind in a second. But if you're entrepreneurial, you've got process, you want to grow your brand and your impact, you want to create a remarkable experience. Yeah, this could be a good fit for you. Speaking of like thinking about the use of technology to grow your brand and actually positively impact your staff, what's better for a staff member? Do they want to create a remarkable experience with the patient in front of them, or do they want to be stuck on the phone? Patients can schedule right through the app, and so if that process is automated, you don't have the front desk CA picking up the phone all day long rescheduling appointments. They actually have the time to get to know the patients, to learn about their lives, their kids, their next vacation, and create that remarkable experience and connection that both our patients and our teams want. So again, when you use technology to automate tasks that can be done through technology, it makes everybody's experience so much better. But you want the CEO chiropractor who understands that.
Completely agree, Jay. We love what you're doing. Philosophically, what Patient Pilot does that we offer through email is completely aligned with the concepts of what you're doing via apps. One is through email, the other is through an app itself. Clearly, what you offer in your app has far more features than staying in touch with people via email, but they both have their important sort of jab hook, as it's known.
Yeah.
Keeping in touch with people on a regular basis. Jay, in the few minutes that we have, I want to make sure those that do fit what you said, that are looking to grow, that are entrepreneurial, that want to have a world-class, remarkable experience in their practice, what does it look like? I go, okay, Jay, this sounds awesome. What's the process of getting their office on board? Is it easy to get started? Does it require a lot of work and effort on the doctor's part or the staff's part? I know once it's set up, it basically creates that automated system. So it eases the work for your staff. It eases the work for you. But what does it take to get onboarded and get started?
It's a great question, and we get this often, and it's relatively simple. In fact, it's very simple if you've got process and infrastructure. If you've got a DUNS number, we can get you on the Google and Apple Play Store, very, very quickly. But if you don't have that, if you don't even know what that is, you don't have your corporate documents, around where like your tax ID number and all that, that's why those folks are not a good fit for us. But here's the process. We do what's called a blueprint call. We show you all the different types of customizations that you can do because it's truly a customized app for the Kairos practice. It is your brand, your graphics, your design. We give you templates many templates that you can choose from, and we can make modifications even to those templates. We can connect to anything that's in the cloud. So if you use ReviewWave, for instance, we can connect to that. If you use Patient Pilot, we can connect to that. If you use web exercises, we can connect to that. We're an aggregator of the technology that Kairos use in their practice for the patient right on their phone. And so we do the blueprint call. within a week, maybe 10 days, we've got the first review of the app for the provider. We make any modifications that we need to make. Again, within another week or 10 days, we make those modifications that are required or that are asked of us. And then we're ready to launch. We get approved by the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. We're ready to go. We can get this done in as little as 30 days. Again, if the doc has their stuff in order, we're launching in 30 days. We also give you an entire launch and ongoing marketing strategy. We have what's called an LMS. You guys know what that is. It's a learning management system. Everything is online for the doctor and their staff. We do a launch call with the provider and their team, but we also have everything online that they can go back and reference anytime they need it as far as training and onboarding and launching is concerned. So it's like super easy. But again, we want chiropractors who have A teams, have infrastructure and process. They'll crush it. And we've got great customers like that are crushing it.
Love that. When a doc gets signed up, they get live. How do they get that first patient in? Do you recommend that this happens, when on that first patient visit, that they're downloading it? Just pragmatically, as I'm thinking about the operations and really getting people onboarded, I see the absolute value, but some docs out there might be saying, gosh, how do I get that initial first patient to get going on it? What's your recommendation?
Honestly, I think that's the easiest part. We have posters in our practices. Our customers have posters with QR codes. When we do the report of findings, we explain the value, not just the features, but the benefits of using the app to the patient, how it's going to get them a better outcome, how we gamify their experience and they get rewards for good behavior, how they're going to have their home exercises right on the phone. They can schedule right through the phone. We talk about convenience for them, better outcomes for them, a more remarkable experience. So they download the app and then they literally they create an account right then and there and they start using it. They can go home and do their exercises that night. Every time they come in for their appointment, they scan a QR code, they get a point. When they reach a certain number of points, they get a reward. In our practices, we like to have fun. So when they hit their milestone, we have little gongs in our practices. We have them hit the gong, everybody applause, and it's like a fun, engaging environment. And it just leads to those patients talking more about the app and bringing in more referrals for our providers. So it's really very, very simple. The easiest part is getting your patients engaged. And what's really interesting, Jeff, is that so many of our patients tell us that their customers' response is, "Oh my God, you have your own app?" And they're like, "Yeah, I do." Like, "Yeah, we're kind of the bomb," and it's really cool. It gives them a lot of pride. And, branding is about differentiation. And this truly is a differentiator.
Jay, it's super impressive. I'm going to ask you two questions. One is, how do people get started? We'll put links and stuff like that below, but do they do a demo call first to learn more about it?
Yep.
Or is there a website that they go to? That's number one. And number two, I just want you to, in the few moments we have left, share your vision for this. I mean, I know it's more than just you can make a few bucks selling some technology. So sort of pan out a little bit. Why does it matter for hundreds, maybe thousands of chiropractors to start embracing technology and use it this way?
I love that question, Jason. So really quickly, if somebody wants to get a hold of us, they can just go to our website, which you guys I know will include kaizenovate.com. They can just click schedule a demo and they'll be able to schedule like literally from that link with someone from our team who will just show them the product. And then we can talk about their goals and desires. And then that's when the blueprint process happens. So again, very seamless, very simple. It takes about a half an hour. As far as, the vision for me for chiropractic, Jason, is we need to be information enabled and we need to be leveraging technology in order to drive, one, more patients into the chiropractic portal of entry. That's so important because we know what the data, the clinical and the cost data says about patients making the right choice first, seeing us first, as opposed to going down the wrong choice, like seeing their PCP for the conditions that we treat. And that's not an opinion, that's an evidence-based statement. So I want to see our profession be more information enabled. We want to see more people getting into the correct portal of entry. And then I really, our goal is to improve healthcare outcomes through the use of data science and behavior change science. So for us as a company, we're continually evolving the product. And as we evolve this platform, it really is about driving outcomes and understanding outcomes through the data that we'll be collecting over time. We're not collecting patient data right now, but in the future we will be. And so that's kind of the future vision of the company and where we see we can create the most impact.
That is awesome. I'm going to encourage everybody listening and watching. We're going to drop those links down below. So if you are one of those providers out there that's looking to build and grow your brand, that wants to leverage technology, that wants to stay on the cutting edge and utilize the tools today that will be the standard tomorrow, then please click the links, have a conversation with Jay and his team, see if this is right for you, and improve your patient outcomes. Get out there, watch that schedule fill up. Get the byproduct will be the revenue. The real outcome will be the benefits that the patients receive. Jay, thanks for taking so much of your time today. Very busy man. Hopping on with us and chatting. It has been enlightening. And again, I'm going to encourage everybody listening and watching, click those links down below, connect with Jay and his team. And Jay, thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Guys, thanks so much for having me. Love and appreciate you both, man. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you so much for watching this video on The Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.